we've been here in Imsouane for I think 6 weeks, and we've got another 2 weeks to go. I've been surfing over 20 years, my husband's been surfing over 40 years. So we know what we're doing, and we've been here long enough to have figured out this wave. So I'm going to show you how this wave works. It is really crowded, so heads up, it's chaos out there. So you have to be pretty careful. Let's go, let's have a look. After you enter Imsouane, this is like the main road that goes through it. It's down by the water, and from that roundabout you come over to here, and this is where you want to enter the wave to surf. And you're going to walk down here, and there's some stairs to go down. Stay right, people, stay right. So you're going to go down the stairs, and then your paddle out spot when it's mid to low tide is going to be as close to that groin as you can get. When it's low tide, that groin in the distance with the pole on it, you can paddle out pretty much right there and you'll be at the peak. As the tide comes in, obviously your paddle out spot's going to be closer in. Currently it's where that big rock is probably. That's where I'd paddle out and paddle across a little bit. And you can actually go behind where the waves are breaking when you do that, unless it's really big, like double overhead. And then you're going to get the wave from somewhere there, and if it's going to connect up, you can get it all the way in to there. In the 6 weeks we've been here, this is the most cross-shore onshore we've seen it. It's usually pretty clean. And now we're into October, the swell's starting to pick up. We were here August, September, and we had a few days it was too small, but now in October we've had a couple of days where it was too big. Well, for me anyway. And Caesar was a bit apprehensive, I think, about the bigger waves, the double overhead, Caesar. Yeah. It's not a very steep takeoff. It's kind of like a ramp, and you'll get the first section will be great, and then you will often get a fat midsection that can be really hard to catch, like this guy here trying to catch that. It's a good example of the fat midsection. And then on the inside, it'll start to steepen up again, and the inside section can be really steep and fast and super fun. When the swell is not too big, most of the learners will be all out on the line of the wave. When the swell gets bigger, the instructors will bring the learners into this area where it's a little bit smaller and a little bit safer for them. So if you know what you're doing, if you've been surfing a while, when it's bigger you will get less crowded conditions because the learners will be all out of your way. That's really nice. It works best on a mid-tide. On the high tide, it's kind of got two sections, this one here and another one way over there. Problem with the inside section, when the tide goes out, there's a really strong current pushing you that way, and there's some buoys down that end, and the current will push you into the buoys. Now I don't know if they're going to stay there. You can see them, well, I don't know if you can see them on my camera, but they're still out there way over there. I've had a couple of waves I caught all the way in and got that steep fast inside section, and I got pushed into those buoys, and that was rather unpleasant. You don't want to get tangled up in those. So just be aware, on a lower tide, when the tide is going out, there's quite a strong current, and on the bigger swell, this current gets a lot stronger and it'll push you that way, and it can make it quite hard to stay in place for your takeoff spot. This is a really good view of the wave from a little bit higher up. You can see it'll go from all the way up there at the peak, and it can connect on the right angle of swell all the way in there. This beach is facing pretty much due south, so you want a swell that's not too north-northwest. If it's very north-northwest, it doesn't seem to curl around and connect in very well. If it's got a bit more westerly, it seems to connect better and peel better. Haven't been here with a swell that's got any southerly to it yet, so I can't tell you what that's like. Big swell here today, and only 6 surfers trying to get the waves. There's a bunch of learners in the whitewater. Ooh, that is nice. That is a good size. It's probably double overhead out there on the sets. It really fattens up in the middle though. fine. The inside's got a nice little one, but it's going to have a big section on him. It's not really lining up that well today. Oh, this guy's just got a section on him. There's quite a rip over here. What's this guy going to get? Yeah, it's not lining up all that well actually. Yeah. There is some buoys, 2 lines of them. This is where the jet skis go out, and the heavy swells we've had recently have sort of ripped them out, and there's one sort of sitting over there, if you can see that. Those things are goddamn dangerous, okay? If they're still here when you try and surf this wave, just be aware, when you get to the inside section, it'll get steep and fast, super fun, but if you're going to get into where these buoys are, like where it's breaking there now, you'll get pushed by the current that way. It'll push you into the buoys, and the rope is strong and quite thick, and the buoys are hard, and you'll just get smashed into them. It's goddamn dangerous. They should not be there. On the takeoff spot and through most of this, it's quite a fat, soft, easy wave. It's not too steep, so it's a really nice longboard wave. I don't know that I haven't seen it barreling yet since we've been here. It might have some barrels on the inside section sometimes, if the angle of the swell is just right and the wind is offshore holding it up a bit maybe. I haven't seen that yet. So yeah, definitely a longboard wave. So yeah, this is the biggest swell we've seen so far, but I think the angle of the swell means that it's just not lining up very well today. It's a bit sectiony. Caesar tells me that the swell direction right now is west-northwest. Now I would have thought that would have lined up quite nicely, but it's just not. As you can see, it's kind of a bit all over the place, and it's about mid-tide going out. I would have thought it would have been lining up by now, but it's just not really working very well on this big swell today. So I wouldn't say it's a fickle spot, but for the wave to peel as long as it can, it all has to line up. I think maybe it needs a bit more westerly in the swell in order for it to line up today. What do you think, Caesar? Is that the problem? Too big. So you think when the swell is bigger like this, that it's just going to be sectiony?
Yeah, the fact that the swell it's not enough to make it wrap in here, so they just swing wide.
Yeah.
And then right.
Okay.
So perhaps if there was more southwest on it.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. On a bigger swell, it needs a bit of southerly in it for it to really work. Well, whatever the reason, right now here today, it's just not working on this big swell. What a shame. I was looking forward to seeing the big waves. And then if you wanted to try and get the inside section, you've got those goddamn buoys out there. I got pushed up against them the other day. That's why I'm saying I think they're just dangerous. I wish someone in charge would get them the hell out of there, and they should never have been put in there in this wave. It's crazy that they're there. So dangerous. Coming out to have a look at how it's going on the low tide, and must be the angle of the swell because it's just not connecting from the outside. There's a big fat midsection where nothing's really breaking over here. I don't know why there's all those people there. They're not catching anything. And then the inside, steep and fast, and every now and then you'll get a peeler. But the 2 lines of buoys that were here to guide the jet skis out originally, those on the sand have been removed, but there's the end of one of them that's been pushed out over there. It's anchored in somehow, and it's still there, and it's right in the middle of where people are trying to surf. And I've seen a couple of people pushed into it and nearly get tangled up in there. That is so dangerous. So I'll be interested to see what they do about that line of buoys when the swell dies down, and hopefully they're able to yank it out of there, because It's got to do something about it. It's a major hazard right in the middle of the wave. Well, at the end of the wave in the steep, fast inside section. Here goes a short boarder, got on him. A little inside wave. Nice.